Hey guys, hopefully you are all doing really good. Today we are going to be talking about the start to the downswing, and it's something that I do actually get questions about and comments about, and hopefully today's video will be really enlightening in terms of exactly what you're trying to do to start the downswing. Now, like I said, this week's theme has actually been all about the grip, but rather than just telling you how to hold the golf club, we've been talking about the importance of the responsibility of the grip, and if you like, the responsibility of the hands. So in the first video this week, we talked about the responsibility of the trail hand and the responsibility that it has to help us keep the club moving through, coming in towards that hitting area, and I gave you a really good exercise to practice as well. And then what we did in the last video is we took a look at one of my favorite training aids, and that training aid, not only does it perfectly balance the role of the trail hand, but it also educates you how to square the face correctly coming in towards that impact area. And that's where we've got to. So far we understand not only how to hold the club, so just go, oh yeah, you've got to hold it like this. That's like, yeah, okay, great. Now what? You know, there's no point having the perfect grip if you don't know how to hit the ball with it, right? So we've talked about it and put it into context. Now, so that we understand the grip, now what we need to do is we need to understand how we're going to get into those positions. So we understand those drills and exercises. So what do we do at the start of the downswing to then do all the stuff that we've learned with? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, there's different ways of swinging the golf club. And what we've got today is a sense of, should we say, lagging and really whipping the club through, as opposed to more of a sort of throwing sensation. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, is the difference between them. And should you feel like you're trying to really drive your elbow at the start of the downswing, or should you feel like you are just trying to create more of a throwing the club down towards the side of the body? Let's talk about the differences first and foremost. The differences, I would get set up towards the golf ball. Different people like different things. The first thing, and we see different movements amongst professional golfers as well. So let's just be clear here, there are options. Let's talk about driving the elbow. We would swing up to the top of the backswing, and the idea is that as I start the downswing, I would get the feeling of shifting towards the lead side, triggering rotation, but I'm going to consciously try and hold on to my wrist angles up here and really drive the elbow in front of my trail hip. And can you see the way my hands therefore take a very direct route towards the back of the golf ball? And then this would be the whipping action. So the more that I kind of do this, the more I can hold on to lag for longer and really whip the club through, coming in towards the bottom of that swing. So that's our driving elbow whipping action. What's the other option? Well, the other option is that we would take the backswing position again, and we'd move in the same way. So we'd still shift towards that lead side as we pull that lead hip back. But this time, instead of really driving the elbow, going to get the feeling of throwing the club down towards the side of the body. Okay, so it's more this way that my hands are working a little bit sort of wider. Now, why? Why wouldn't everybody drive the elbow, and why wouldn't everybody get a feeling of throwing? Well, look, I think it's just a preference. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this in more detail moving forward. But today, what I'm saying is, if you don't like driving the elbow because you feel stuck, then you can throw. And if you've been told to throw and you don't like it, then you can drive the elbow. But the question would be, well, how do you know which one's correct and what to do? And I think I've got a really nice little solution here. So what you need to do is you need to get a bit of rope, okay? And as you can see here, I've sort of lassoed it together and tied the ends with just a bit of tape. And all I'm going to do is place this over my head, and so place it over my head and then place my lead hand underneath. So it's a bit like a sling. And the objective is that I'm trying to get it to the length of my lead hand, right? And then I take my trail hand and I basically take hold of it as if it was my golf club, like so, right? And actually, I'll turn it upside down. That would be even better if I do it like that. So that way I can maintain the same sort of grip. So there we go. So you can see the way that I've got this to the state where it's the same relationship as my lead hand, as you can see here. Right. So your objective with your trail hand, as we outlined in the first video, is all about width. Okay. So we were trying to talk about in the backswing, wide, okay, keeping this like so, and then swinging through wide, so we're keeping it like so. That was our objective. So therefore, let's talk about this sort of shall we say, driving elbow and throwing action. Well, the driving elbow would be a case that you'd swing up to the top, and again, as we pivot towards the left-hand side, see the way I'm really driving my elbow in front of my hip, and my hands are working very much directly over the ball, but yet again, I'm keeping this nice and taut, okay, like so. Right, that's our sort of driving action, so this is absolutely fine. The second one would be a widening action. So instead of driving the elbow in here, I'm actually creating more of a widening motion, but you can still see the way that this stays nice and taut. So both of those are completely acceptable, because it's not a case of what I'm saying is, oh yeah, if you throw the club, this goes all floppy. That's no good, because your elbow's still supporting you bring the club down. It's just not necessarily driving in front of your hip. So, like I said, you need to try this. And what I said on Tuesday's video, and we'll see how people get on, hopefully in tomorrow's video, where we're going to talk about you need to be doing these drills so that you can get a strong feeling for what is correct and what is incorrect. Now, what you would do is you would watch this video, and by solely just watching this video, you might have made a decision on what feels best for you already. Okay, so that's completely possible. What you can also do is you can do a pump drill. Now, pump drill is probably one of the oldest drills, but it's a brilliant drill. And a pump drill would basically just be 2 or 3 rehearsals before you hit a shot. And what you'd do is you'd swing up to the top and you would go 1, 2, 3, hit. Okay, that would be your sort of pump drill. The throwing motion would be the same. You'd go up to the top and you'd go 1, 2, 3, throw. Okay, and that would be the key thing. Now, before we conclude this video, what I outlined in today's video, although very subtly, is that you still have to shift towards that lead side. See, if you start trying to throw the club or drive the elbow, you've still got to make sure that you're getting, shall we say, your sort of sternum over the ball. So what happens in the golf swing, we create a tilt, we turn this way, so we have to shift to the left to get back over the ball, and then, like I say, whether you drive the elbow or throw won't make a difference. We can suggest that maybe the driving the elbow is going to produce that little bit more sort of lag and speed, but with proper sequencing and sound motion and you feeling more confident, I don't think it's going to matter too much for most of the golfers that will watch this in terms of what you want, as long as your sequence is good. So hopefully tomorrow will be an opportunity where I'll be able to catch up with some golfers who have done some of the drills and seen how they've got on, and maybe talk about some of the mistakes, and that way we can all continue to learn together. So to make sure that you don't miss that video, press the subscribe button. If you're going to do so, you have to press the bell icon, because that's the only way that you can receive notifications every time a new video comes out. Like I said, go down the range if you've got the chance to, maybe do a few swings in the garden and do some pump drills. 2, 3. Oh, there we go. A little bit off in terms of the timing on the first one. Got to shift that a little bit more towards that left-hand side. But it's a really important exercise to do to give you a strong feeling between the difference between what you're currently doing and what you should be doing. And the transparency is, yeah, it's going to test your coordination. And obviously the more you keep doing it, the better you're going to get at it. But it's important that you do it, even if you end up hitting 3, 4 miss hits to start off with. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing when we catch up with people tomorrow. See you guys again really soon.